Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the First Nations and Native American peoples. Here where I am in Vancouver, those peoples are the Musqueam, Stolo, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. But I know where many of you are, you're on the land of other nations. Always, but especially during this difficult time, let us remember our connection to the people in these nations and pray for the day in which we might be with them in right relationship. Welcome. Welcome to Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own homes. Please bring who you are in with you. But what you are asked to remember is that everyone around you has brought who they are in with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. Whenever you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl. Just beautiful. Thank you so much. Before we get started, I have just a few announcements. Tomorrow morning at the Interfaith Community Sanctuary in Seattle, that's the one run by Sheikh Jamal Rahman, at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The speaker is going to be Tahil Sharma. He is the regional coordinator for North America for the United Religions Initiative, and he's a very cool guy. He actually grew up as both Sikh and Hindu, and he's going to be speaking about that experience and then his extensive work in interfaith since then. So if anyone would like to hear from him or to attend that service, I will put the Zoom login in the chat. It should be a lot of fun. And I actually think I'm going to reach out to him for when we have a Hindu service, because he's a very interesting person. So there's that. And then on Monday, March 8th, from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is teaming up with the World Sikh Organization, also for International Women's Day. They're going to be honoring women in the community who are doing courageous, inspiring work here in British Columbia. It's a free event that's open to everybody. So if anyone would like to attend, you can sign up on their registration page. I'll put it here. And if you sign up there, then you can then they'll send you the login information, but that should be a lot of fun. And I think some of us from here will probably be attending that because they're really lovely folks there. On Wednesday, March 10th, our World Scriptures group is going to be gathering to study Islamic texts this month. So, you know, every month we focus on sacred texts from a different tradition. This month we're focusing on Islam. It should be lovely. It'll be Wednesday, March 10th from 7 to 8:30. And if you're I think we're going to be doing both the Holy Quran and the Hadith, which are sayings from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So if anyone's interested, let me know, and I can send you the login information. And then finally, next Saturday, March 13th, the Living Interfaith Church, which is our sister congregation, is going to be gathering at 10:30. So they meet a half an hour later because they're not as early risers as we are. And 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. To celebrate the Baha'i Spring Festival of Navroz. And Bill Griffith will be speaking. He comes and joins us sometimes, so some of us know him. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'd be happy to send you the Zoom login as soon as I get it. So that's it from me. Are there any other announcements, anything in the community that you think folks should know about? Okay, thank you so much. Let's come into silence for a moment. We'll start our opening prayer. This is from Education for Justice in Australia. Holy One, today we remember that women are a reflection of the glory of God. Today we honor the women of all times and all places. Women of courage, women of hope, women suffering, women mourning, women living fully, women experiencing joy, women delighting in life, women knowing the interconnectedness of the human family, women honoring the sacredness of the relational, the affective, women quietly tending the garden of human flourishing, women boldly leading the transformation of unjust global structures, women seeking wisdom, women sharing wisdom, women receiving love, women giving love, women giving life, and women in the image of God. Loving God, we celebrate your faithfulness and love. On this day, we commit ourselves to the promotion of the full humanity of all women everywhere. We know that whatever denies, diminishes, or distorts the full humanity of women is not of God. Help us to be faithful to your call for love. Amen. This is a prayer I found from the Sisterhood of Temple B'nai Torah. The voice of a woman is immodest. The voice of a woman chants Torah. The voice of a woman demands justice. The voice of a woman comforts a child. The voice of a woman sings with joy. The voice of a woman teaches the ignorant. The voice of a woman prays with devotion. What should be forbidden is silence. Now, if you'll join me in a passing of the peace, this is when you can unmute yourselves and when we all share peace with one another. Peace, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Peace be with you.
Peace to all.
Peace be with you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Be with you.
Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.
Everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Peace be with you.
Peace.
Peace.
Be with you.
Beautiful. Thank you, friends. When you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl.
Jai Jai Ma, 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 Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now I'm just going to share my screen. If you'll join me in our joint affirmation. We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek. And let it begin here. Thank you so much. Now I believe Susmita has a poem that she'd like to share for today. Where International Women's Day is on Monday, but since we always celebrate anything within the vicinity of our services, that's what we're celebrating. So Susmita, I'd love to hear from you.
Hello everyone. So my name is Susmita. Happy International Women's Day in advance to everyone. And thank you, Kathy, for organizing such a wonderful event. So my poem is here. I believe these sentiments are not just mine, and you other also thinking the same. A woman's contribution is way like above fine in all aspects in our life. So here is my poem. Oh mother, oh dear mother, it is true that I have come from you, discerning the oath of art for me, a magic of wonder of my creation. You are the axis around which I move, exploring me in this strange land. Little by little, this veiled universe stands poised, making me wise. You are rare and unique, like gems and riverbanks, discerning the light of earth, a deathless love of eternity twinkling ever. When I stumble over a rock, you amazed me with your prayers, your tears trickling from eyes. You wipe it out in your hand. When I grow older, stronger, we are in love. We never change. Oh dear Mother Nature, you taught me. I am the mother of all creation. I am daughter of the nature. I am cause of your existence. I was, I am, and I will ever. I breathe, I pulsate, and I am in your nurse. I am is all in me, in you too. Feel me in you. I am your lifeline. If I exist, then you do. I have come alone, way from who I was to who I am, and I will grow into who I am to become. I'm consistently evolving. There is no love better than self-love and the love of God. I am a girl. I am a creation. I am a mother. Woman am I. I am. I am. I am. Thank you for this wonderful life. Oh God, thank you for this wonderful life. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Let me figure out how to unpin you. Thank you. That was beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing with us, Susmita. And now this is when we usually take a little bit of time to pray in our own homes and in our own way for something in the world. As always, there are so many things to pray for. But I think if we could take this time now to pray for the women in our lives and also women who've experienced violence in relationships or in any kind of way. If we could pray now for women who are survivors of violence. Thank you very much. Thank you, friends. When you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl.
Om tare tu re so. 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 Stop.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think I've said this before, but that was actually the chant I was doing when I was in labor with Anara. So it really holds a special place in my heart. So thank you so much for that. As I usually say, now is when I'd usually pass around a basket. In lieu of that, I'll share our donation page in the chat. And also, Stephen has rightly trained me to highlight Doctors Without Borders. So it's important for us. Certainly, we always appreciate donations and can use them. But there are other groups as well that need donations and need some support. Doctors Without Borders does amazing work around the world. So if we remember them as well, if we have some extra money. And if there are any other organizations or causes that need some money at this time, would anyone like to share about them, either speaking or in the chat? Okay, thank you. And when you're ready, Bruce and Cheryl.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And now it's my joy and honor to turn it over to Carolyn Rogers. She's here and we'd love to hear from her on this day. So thank you so much, Carolyn, when you're ready.
You're welcome, Kathy. And I just want to thank Susmita for your poem and Kathy for your quote and Bruce and Cheryl for your music. It's just all of you have set such a nice tone. So I just want to say good morning again. And as most of you know, my name is Carolyn Rogers, and I live in the town of Invermere in the East Kootenay region of BC. I acknowledge with deep gratitude that I am on the territory of the Shuswap and Ktunaxa nations and the chosen homeland of the Métis. My preferred pronouns are she and her. I was raised in the Christian faith tradition, but this past year, my husband Greg and I have been able to attend Living Interfaith Sanctuary services via Zoom with all of you. This has truly been an honor and a blessing for us. Kathy and I met while taking courses at the Vancouver School of Theology, where I graduated in 2019 with a Master of Arts in Public and Pastoral Leadership. I am blessed to be the mother of 2 grown sons, mother-in-law to 2 wonderful daughters-in-law, stepmother to 2 20-something-year-olds, and grandmother to 3 grandchildren with another on the way. I am also a woman who has experienced violence in an abusive relationship, and I've been invited to share parts of my story with you in the context of how faith traditions could improve their support for women who are going through what I did. Before we continue, I want to say that for some of you, what I share may be disturbing and possibly triggering. I encourage you to look after yourself, whether that means breathing deeply, turning off your video for part of my talk, journaling during or after, talking with a trusted friend, or any self-care method that helps you to feel safe, calm, and centered. International Women's Day takes place on March 8th every year to celebrate women's rights and inspire people to act in the ongoing fight for gender equality. This is not an easy topic to hear about, and I admire that you have chosen to be here to learn about a subject that affects 1 out of 3 women globally, including those in our faith communities. My own story actually starts with my parents' story, and my mother has given me permission to share what I feel will be helpful with you today. My father passed away in 2006. My mother was sexually molested as a preteen by the father of a family for whom she was babysitting. She never felt comfortable or knew how to tell her parents about what had happened. My mother and father married on February 14th, 1959, and had 3 children by 1963. I am the oldest. Our family faithfully attended church services every week, all spit and polished in our Sunday best. Yet I remember being confused about what was happening inside our home during the week. There was a lot of tension between my parents, and it seemed as if Mom was cranky and hard on Dad. He perennially seemed to be the long-suffering good guy who was a victim of my mom's moodiness and migraines. It turns out that my dad had alcohol addiction issues, which my mom tried to cover up as much as possible until she held a family intervention when I was in my 20s. I knew very little about alcoholism, and at the time I thought she was exaggerating. My dad quit drinking and was sober for 30 years after that, yet the tension between them continued. After my dad passed, my mother revealed to me that my dad also had an addiction to pornography, that sometimes sex between them was non-consensual, and that he'd had relations with other women. Although shocked, I wasn't surprised since my brother, sister, and I all at one time or another found Dad's huge stack of Playboy magazines in the basement of our home. I remember noticing in family movies of beach vacations that Dad zoomed the camera in on women's bikini tops. Although others seemed to find this funny, as a developing adolescent, I was confused and uncomfortable. From this, I deduced that women's bodies, in particular their chest size, was very important to men. I married my teenage sweetheart at the age of 21, and we had 2 sons while we were in our 20s. After 12 years together, our marriage ended for a number of reasons, including marital betrayal. When my husband left, my father asked how our sex life was, and he said something along the lines of, "Some men do that, but they do not leave their marriages." I was stunned to realize that my father seemed to be condoning men having affairs as long as they were kept secret, and that perhaps if one's bedroom life was not up to snuff, it could be the woman's fault that their husband strayed. After 11 years of raising my children as a single parent, with my youngest on the cusp of heading off to university, I started dating again. When I first met the man that would become my partner of several years, he seemed to be the answer to my prayers for a strong, loving Christian man to become a part of my life. He was helpful, generous, funny, smart, had a successful career, and was a good listener the first year that we were dating. The second year, an occasional red flag started to appear, but I had been taught Jesus's message to look for the good in others and to forgive not 7 times, but I tell you 77 times from the book of Matthew, chapter 18. In 2009, I moved in with this man that I had now been dating for 5 years. Perhaps to counter the slow dread that I was feeling inside myself, I decided to write a gratitude journal to focus on the positive aspects of my life. As I reread that journal now, it is incredulous to me that there is not one hint about what was really going on. I was proud of myself that I was able to put a positive spin on my life and find the good in what was a confusing and increasingly frightening situation. I continued to believe what I was experiencing must be partially my fault and that I was being a good Christian by staying positive. My partner managed to keep his true self mostly hidden until I moved in with him. However, when the honeymoon period was over, his alcoholism, depression, and abusive behavior came to the forefront. My doctor suggested that I attend a 12-step program for friends and families of alcoholics, where I learned that alcoholism is an illness rather than a moral deficiency. Although abusive behavior sometimes accompanies addictions, I was taught to be patient and understanding and to work on my own flaws and character defects. Although 12-step programs are not based on any particular religion, the way that I interpreted the Christian teaching of self-sacrifice was not helpful for what I was experiencing. When I was making my decision about whether to stay or leave the relationship, many factors kept me feeling trapped for much longer than was necessary or safe for me. Although I wasn't experiencing physical violence that resulted in bruises to my body, my safety was threatened in other ways that caused my nervous system to be on high alert at all times. Yet the dominant social narratives about women abuse caused me to feel responsible, crazy, and flawed. As a society, we need to reframe the question, what is wrong with that woman, to what has happened to that woman. Common myths and stereotypes about woman abuse rely on dominant discourses that often do not get challenged by helping professionals, friends, families, or religious institutions. If you change, your partner's abuse will stop. You need to work on your self-esteem. Learn to manage your anger. Get help for the trauma, or stand up to the abuse and be more assertive are all unhelpful responses that cause women to feel unsupported, may even be dangerous, and conspire to keep women silent about what they are experiencing. Statistically speaking, women of faith will turn to the religious leaders when first experiencing violence or abuse from a partner. Like most other professionals, however, religious leaders are not trained to see or understand woman abuse. Too often, an emphasis is put on saving the marriage or privileging the male partner instead of putting the focus on women's well-being and safety. Typically, abusive men honeymoon or only show their best side to religious leaders, so women are not believed when they disclose abuse. One woman put it like this: I had been pretending that everything was okay in our marriage for years. When I decided to tell the truth about what was happening, people thought that I had lost my mind and they felt sorry for him. In the end, I left our faith community with no support, and he remained in the community with extra support. Karen Mccandless Davis has supported women for 25 years and co-authored with Jill Corey the book When Love Hurts, A Woman's Guide to Understanding Abuse in Relationships. That's the book I have behind me there. In 25 years of supporting women, Karen has only heard about one woman's experience of having her religious leader ask, "How could we as a community have supported you better during this difficult time?" This leader's approach not only affirmed that the women's community believed her story, but that they respected and valued her as both strong witness and wise teacher on the issue of violence against women. I applaud Elizabeth Renzetti for her article, "It's long past time we treated domestic violence as a public health crisis." This is from the Globe and Mail, December 5th, 2020. Current research from those who support women, however, suggests that we update our language to better reflect the reality of what women who experience violence face. Domestic violence implies that this is a private concern in the home and that both parties are responsible for the abuse. Intimate partner violence implies that the relationship is grounded in intimacy rather than oppression. Ali Kern, a survivor of abuse and author of The Role of Pastors, The Vital Link in Stopping Domestic Violence, suggests several steps for leaders to make our faith communities a safe place for women. Here are some of her suggestions, which I have modified slightly. Make an unwavering commitment to stand against all forms of abuse. Adopt a mandate or charter that condemns relational abuse. Host community workshops and invite a local expert to teach staff about violence against women. Teach healthy relationship skills to youth and young adults and provide premarital and marital pastoral counseling that incorporates material on abuse. Make sure preaching and prayers give prominence to the theme, especially in October during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Create a pastoral lay care teams equipped to support survivors with specific guidelines in place. Establish relations with the woman who is disclosing abuse. Listen to her with respect and empathy. Believe her experience as valid and real, and assure her that it is not her fault. Keep a ready list of referrals to local shelters, abuse-trained therapists. That's a very important one. An abuse-trained therapist, not every therapist is trained in abuse, and other emergency contacts. Safety is the chief concern in abuse situations, so be aware that any intervention could heighten the risk to the survivor and her children. Ask for the woman's permission to record notes on your meeting, which may be of great assistance to her at a later date with any legal action taken. And always, always honor the express needs and wants of the survivor. Women are the best experts on their own lives, even if they are struggling to cope with high levels of anxiety, stress, confusion, and fear. The last thought that I have time to leave you with is in honor and memory of my friend Kim, who tragically died at age 48 of pancreatic cancer. The theme for International Women's Day 2021 is Choose to Challenge, which Kim would have loved. Following Buddhist practice, Kim wrote her own obituary, stating that the personal is truly the political. She knew the importance of challenging biases and misconceptions to create a more inclusive and gender equal world. Kim was always there for me, and her unwavering support helped me navigate my way to a new life. When I felt alone and exhausted, Kim affirmed that I was one of the bravest people that she knew. Professionally, Kim was a hairstylist who allowed her salon to be the drop-off place for legal documents between my former partner and me. She served the legal papers to him, and she accompanied me on my last visit to my former home to pick up my belongings. She understood that I was both elated to be free and grieving so many losses at the same time. When my partner's bullying ramped up and I suspected that he was stalking me, she insisted that I text her morning and night with an agreed upon emoji to let her know that I was safe. Well, here's my emoji for you, Kim. I am safe, I am strong, and I am thriving. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. So powerful. Thank you, Carolyn. It's beautiful. Bruce and Cheryl, when you're ready, we'll have our final song. And I think it'll actually be with Carolyn and Greg, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, you can see Carolyn making her way down to the piano.
Yeah, going downstairs.
I'll have to turn your
It's off.
Okay.
turn your iPad off, I think, Carolyn, that'll help. We're going to share leadership in this. We're working on being able to do this at the same time simultaneously, but as Greg said, there's some tech challenges to solve on the Invermere side, so in future we'll be able to do that, but we're going to alternate verses and share the song together. It comes from a Christian context, but it's a song for all of us.
Okay, say when you're ready.
Okay. I don't know if they can see me. I can't see myself. Can you guys hear us?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So hopefully this will go.
Now, hopefully you can. I can't see us, so I don't even know if the camera is.
It's okay.
Yes, it is. It's on you.
Okay.
Enough technical stuff. Here we go.
God weeps at love withheld, at strength misused, at children's innocence abused, until we change the way we love. God weeps.
God bleeds at anger's fist, at trust betrayed, at women battered and afraid, until we change the way we live. God leads.
God cries at hungry mouths, at running sores, at creatures dying without cause, until we change the way we care. God cries.
God waits for stones to melt, for peace to speed, for hearts to hold each other's need, until we understand the Christ. God waits.
It was so powerful. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you, Carolyn.
You did a good job.
You're welcome.
Let's just go forth now, carrying these difficult stories like this, holding each other in our hearts, remembering that unfortunately Carolyn's story is far too common in all of our communities. It's so easy to say, no, not in our community. Certainly we don't have any abusers here or anyone who's being abused. But unfortunately, we know that's not the case. So if we just open ourselves up, open up our hearts, and be a safe person, a safe place for those who are experiencing violence to go. Thank you so much, friends. Let us go now in openness and courage. Amen.